Hello humans, it's just Martine, and today we're going to get my NetGalley ratio up to 100%. I'm pretty good at keeping on top of my advanced reader copies on NetGalley, but there's one book that has been haunting me. I picked it before I understood really how NetGalley worked, and so I didn't understand archive dates. And this book archived before I could download and read it, and my library didn't have it. But recently I was talking about this conundrum, how I'm at like 97%, I just have to read this one book, then I'll hit the mythical 100% ratio on NetGalley, and my friend Ashley came through and she gifted me with an ebook copy of this book, something like Fun Jewish Things for Christians. So thank you, Ashley, for making this moment a reality. I'm gonna read this book and we're going to talk about it, and we're gonna talk about NetGalley in general, and it's gonna be a good time. And then we'll have the very satisfying ability to have a 100% ratio until the next time that I randomly decide to request or download a book from NetGalley. Let's get reading. I did it! I finished reading Neat Jewish Things for Christians, which I'm giving 3.5 stars. I think what I'm going to write for my review is like, there were in fact some neat Jewish things for Christians in this book. For example, I really liked the parts that talked about the Jewish high holidays and the meanings behind those and how they're used in the biblical context. But then there were some things that were really not neat. For example, I didn't understand why we were talking about the dimensions of different parts of the temple. I didn't feel like that was neat at all. So yeah, and that means I'm going to have 100%. My review has been sent. Hoorah. So there it is, my victory stamp, 100%, 39 approved, 39 feedback sent. Heck yes. In general, I really like NetGalley. I cannot for the life of me figure out why I get approved for less things than my friends, but as we can see in this case, it all works out in the end because now I have 100% ratio and they don't. I think when I started with NetGalley, I was more on board with doing things like read now options. Nowadays, I go more the request route, so there's a large chance that I won't be approved for it. There are like two things that I'm generally approved for. One is Alexis Hall books. Alexis Hall is one of my favorite authors, so I'm always thrilled to read and review those books early. And then I also generally get accepted by St. Martin's Press as long as I've read my last St. Martin's Press book. And so like between those two things, I have a pretty steady flow, I would say. I don't want to say that I just want to use NetGalley to look at books that I'm already planning on reading or like by my favorite authors, because I do think a large part of my reading is like reading things just randomly and trying out new authors and new things all the time. I'm not going to stop doing that on NetGalley, but I do think I'm going to be more mindful from this point. What I kind of am hoping to do is do a like 1-and-1 situation wherein I either request one book or download or read now one book at a time and then like review it and go back to 100 so that I'm just like bouncing between slightly less than 100 and 100. I can't guarantee that that's always going to happen, especially when I'm requesting books instead of clicking read now. Like it's kind of all up to the publishers about that. I do think that my number one tip for people who generally get a lot of NetGalley books is twofold. One, put like a pause on yourself or set some sort of rule and work on catching up before you go on another spree. Two, consider why you're requesting so many books on NetGalley. From my perspective, I think that a lot of people request books on NetGalley because they're scrolling on NetGalley, they see it, they're like, ooh, that's interesting, they request it. They do that for a ton of books, and so the chances that they'll be approved for books like goes up the more times that you request it. Basically, if you request 5 books, the chances that you'll get at least one of those books is higher than if you just requested one book. And so people who request lots and lots of books end up approved usually for lots and lots of books. So I don't really request that many. If it's because you're feeling the inclination to go and like scroll, look at books, find something cool, interesting, random, something you've never heard of, something that looks exciting or speaks to you in that moment, don't go to NetGalley. I understand that it's a good like free source of books for people, but it does come with the expectation that you're going to be giving the review for this book, usually in a timely manner. Instead of scrolling on NetGalley all the time and requesting books, what I do instead is I go on my Libby app and I scroll through the newly added books like honestly several times a week, and I add them to a wishlist tag in Libby, and that wishlist tag is totally out of control. It's like over 2,000 books. I'll never read them all, but it satiates that desire in me to look at books, be drawn to books, be like, ooh, that's fun, I might want to read that someday. And then I don't have like a million books on NetGalley that I'm obligated to give a review for or would feel bad
about if I did not give a review. Instead, I have this list of books that I know that I'm interested in that I can always look through if I'm looking for another book to read, but can also just sit there and act as my tool for when I want to look at books and think that they're cool and in some way purchase or acquire them without actually having to purchase them or sign some type of contract in the case of NetGalley where you have to give something in exchange for reading the book. That's the brilliant thing about libraries. Truly. And in general, if you're feeling really overwhelmed with where you are with NetGalley, again, impose some sort of rule for yourself about when you're going to request books, and then just take it one book at a time. Thanks for watching this video and cheering me on as I reached my 100% ratio. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up and comment down below. What's your NetGalley ratio? Do you use NetGalley? And if you do, what are some of your bad habits on NetGalley? And subscribe for more reading, writing, and college lifestyle content. And until next time, bye humans, bye!